Hey guys, Sean Bougie, surplusfundsriches.net. Welcome to the live webinar. If someone could in the comments, please let me know you can hear and see me okay. That would be great. Remember that all questions are welcome. And we should have a comment showing up here shortly from me. If you don't know about it already, January 1st, major blowout sale, not only on the new program, the Tax Surplus Strike Force, but also on bundles and additional programs. And Russell says, we hear you. That's fantastic. Remember, guys, any and all questions are good to go. Anything you've got, try to stump us if you want. Whatever you'd like to do. It's been a great week. We've been very, very busy, and we're excited about the new program launching January the 1st, and already getting the team ready for that. And it's been a great year, guys. We appreciate everybody, all the folks that have joined us in the past and are currently partnering up as well, and even the guys that are doing it on their own. Fantastic! Thanks for trusting us and staying with us. Cheryl says, "Hey guys, looks and sounds good. That's great. Hey Sean, sounds good. RFQ, thank you. And remember, any and all questions." Just so you guys know, I need to make a couple things clear for those of you. I know there's a lot of you guys that are showing up that look familiar. I think you're going to probably be showing up for the sale January 1st. Remember, the way we're doing that, the first 35 people that purchase the Tax Surplus Strike Force also get to pick one of, I think it's 5 different ebooks. The way that's going to happen is you're going to get the ebook delivered to you via email, the initial content. That is also going to have a form in it you can fill out, or a link to a form that you can fill out. And that'll allow you to choose which of your bonus programs you want at that point. That's how we're going to do that. Make it a little easier on us on our end, at least. And let's see here. I'm going to go through a couple questions that I also got earlier. Shaban says, happy holidays, Sean and Jeff. Thank you, Shaban. Is the panning program a good program to go after? Yeah, actually, so Kay Davis, the panning program is going after mortgage overages in non-judicial states where the attorneys handle the foreclosure and the disbursement of the funds, so they don't give a list out. As a result, very little competition that has done extremely well. It's actually outpaced our national surplus a little bit, which is our flagship program. The new program, Tax Surplus Strike Force, is similar. You can't really get a list in some states, or it takes a while for them to generate them. This answers that question, allows you to research your own list and the debt, turn it into us. It's a partnership program, Tax Surplus Strike Force. Turn it into us, and we do the rest. We find them, call them, mail them, hire the mobile notary and the attorney, and give 35% of net on that. Yes, the panning's excellent. There is a bundle. If you guys go to surplusfundsriches.net, at the top of the page now is a big logo about the sale. You click that, and that'll take you to the products page. About halfway down, there are 2 downloads. One's an overview of all of the different programs we're gonna have available. And then the other one, that's called the Insider's Guide, is a price guide. And it'll tell you there are bundles that have multiple programs in them. And I believe there is a bundle that has the Tax Surplus Strike Force and the panning program in it. Sounds good. Hey, Sean, sounds good. Reserve your spot. There we go. Reserve your spot. JG Production says hello. If we are new and not sure which add-on we want, can we wait till we are more educated to choose? So if you're going to get an add-on, okay, there's no reason in waiting, Spartan. Go now, or when you get a chance. Surplus funds, and this will be up as a replay, by the way, guys, on YouTube. When you get a chance, go to surplusfundsriches.net, click on the products tab. Actually, click on the big logo on the top about the sale. It'll take you to the products page. Halfway down, there is I'm not sure which add-on we want. Okay. There is a download that you can choose. If you're talking about the add-on that's free to the first 35, remember that's the first 35 buyers. So guys, show up at 10 a.m. Okay. If you want that free add-on, that one, yeah, you can get back to us. Haven't talked to Jeff about it. We really weren't thinking in terms of people wanting to wait for a certain amount of time. I don't know that I want to leave that open forever. You know what I mean? Maybe I have no idea how long we're going to leave that open. I'll let Jeff get back if he's got some input on that. But there's no reason to really wait. You've got the Insider's Guide on the products page, and that'll go into what all the programs are. One of the things I will say, look, if you're talking about an add-on, I'm kind of actually really glad you brought that up. If you're talking about an add-on, because you're going to get the tax surplus strike force and you want the free add-on, in that case, go ahead and pick the surplus funds DIY. That's important because the new program, tax surplus strike force, that new program, that is not doesn't teach you how to do it on your own. It's a pure partnership program that pays 35% of net. And your job is just to research the list and the debt against the property and turn it in, and we do the rest. Um, but I would pick up this national surplus DIY. I believe that's an option where you can pick that up as one of your add-ons if you're one of the first 35 people. And that's a big deal because it teaches you how to do it on your own 3 different ways. So that's a really killer book to get if you're thinking you may want to start doing it on your own at some point. Shaban, are test files program agnostic? Are 3 test files required for each new program we start? Yes. Okay, what Shaban is talking about, guys, is one of the things that we found really works over the years is you turn in a file. You have access to our active files list first. Let me tell you that. Okay. So that's on your resources page that's linked from your ebook. The ebook is a PDF step-by-step ebook. Has a file example and it's a step-by-step. That has a link to a resources page with additional video training, but you don't need it. The training's really in text form. Goes to that resources page, and on there you have a link or access to our active files working list. The reason for that is if you were to find a file you wanted to work before you research the debt, you could take the name off of that file, open up our active files working list, which is updated Monday through Friday, and check to make sure we don't already have it. Kind of a big deal. Hold on. Sorry. Losing my pace. You guys are starting to ask quite a few here. But when you turn in files, you're going to turn one in, then you're going to wait. And one of 2 things is going to happen. If you messed up, that's okay. Part of the learning process. They'll tell you, the submissions department will tell you what you need to fix so that we can accept it. If it went through, in other words, it was correct, it'll show up on the list within a couple days. Okay. Once you see that, this is for all new programs that we do. Once you see it, then you can turn in the second one. Once you see that, you can turn in a third one, submit a third one. Once you've had 3 accepted files, okay, and you've got to see them accepted on that list. Once you see 3 accepted files, you can turn in pretty much however many you want. Okay. But at first we do that because we found in the past that if we didn't do that, people would try to turn in 10, 15 files at a time. They'd all have a slight problem. We'd be kicking all of them back saying, hey, please fix this, please fix this. And you'd get discouraged and give up. And we don't want that to happen. This way, it's kind of a learning process as you go. You learn as you go. Carol C, happy holidays. You guys are awesome. Yeah, Carol, I think you got, if I'm not mistaken, 3 under contract currently, if I'm thinking of the right person here. R. Harris, does Strikeforce take time to build up the list like panning does? It will, and it'll depend on what area that you work. But you can also find if there was a recent foreclosure, you can work that as long as, well, the book will detail it. But there can be some time involved in building your list. I don't think it's gonna take long to do, guys. As if our support, you'll have 30 days to make your decision on the free program for the first 35 buyers. There we go. There we go. So you've got until basically the end of January if you are one of the first 35 buyers on the tax surplus strike force, and your add-on form is link or form is in your ebook. You've got 30 days, the end of January, to decide which one you want. If you receive a current surplus continuous list, how far back in time do you need to go to recheck the surplus amount listed? RFQ 57, RFQ 57. Current surplus funds list. How far back in time do you need to go to recheck the surplus funds amount listed? We look for recent lists. RFQ, if you're talking about like the national surplus funds, Jeff can chime in. Hey, Carol. Jeff can chime in if you'd like, but there's a certain amount of time back where if you go beyond a certain amount of time, this is for the national surplus, then you're going to need to check and make sure. If the list is a certain amount of days old or months old, you're going to have to check and make sure the funds are there. Otherwise, we assume that they are, and we take the full risk on that. Good to hear, Carol. And I'll be keeping in touch with you, Carol. I reached out to Carol. She's in the comments. I reached out to her about the 3 she had under contract, and she's very excited, of course. And I've been keeping up with her on how that's going. And we'll let you know, Carol. Here's the issue. So from right now through the end of February in particular, we have kind of a run usually on putting deals together. And the reason for that is we're going into Christmas right now, and then they're going to be coming out of Christmas and they want to pay off their debt, obviously. So it works really well. We're offering a good faith payment to the claimants, and we're the only ones that do that. So we put quite a few under contract. However, the courts, we've got right now, we're projecting four more checks coming in before the end of the year, which is pretty amazing in December, right? Especially with Christmas and New Year's coming up. The courts tend to go to sleep or go, I should say, go really slow this time of year. Uh, so we're kind of amazed that we've got these four more coming in the next week and a half, 2 weeks um, at the end of the year. It's just not common at all. But again, another reason why we launched this January the 1st is the timing of that is absolutely perfect. Um, we just really think 2026 is going to be an outrageous year, particularly in the tax surplus arena. And having a program where you can go after deals prior to anybody else, before anybody else even knows there's surplus on that particular file, that's kind of a big deal. That's what we found out from the panning system. And this is similar, but with tax, um, a lot easier to work, in my opinion, than tax. And you should be able to do files than panning. I'm sorry. The tax is going to be a lot easier to work than the mortgage. Jesse, what are the top three states that you do deals in, more specifically tax deed surplus, not mortgage? So, Jesse, we do deals in if it's a tax deed state, not just a tax lien, and then whoever bought the lien has to actually do the foreclosure and not the county. If it's a tax deed state, we work all of them. I really don't lead people, and let me give you an example of why. At one point, the governor of New Jersey put some laws together that we thought was going to just destroy the surplus funds deal. He was allowing for people to purchase it at what's owed if there were a family member, all kinds of crazy stuff. And we were wrong. And we had actually led people away from that, thinking of that was how that was going to shake out. And it didn't work out that way. New York has been good to us over the years, but it got really dicey. About a year ago, they were starting to play, well, there's some shenanigans, let's call it, where they were sending the money off the state when we were double checking if the funds were there. Then they'd call us back the next day and go, oh, sorry, they're not here. It was a little game they were playing, a little shell game. And that has stopped. So New York has kind of opened up a lot easier. We were the first ones in, to my knowledge, the very first ones into Wisconsin, which was kind of a big deal. They used to keep the surplus funds, and we, right after they got taken to the state Supreme Court over it and lost, we were the first ones that brought something out of there, which was I'm really proud of that. Okay, let's see. Good evening, Sean. Are any of your programs redundable? I don't know what that means. Ruby, how can I find a foreclosure deed date? Recorded deeds do not say foreclosures. Hey, Ruby, open the deed. It's right on the top. It says the date of when it was recorded right up in the top corner. Support for national surplus funds. To verify funds, you need either a recent list dated within 60, 90 days, use the court case history report if it's available, or call the county to verify. There you go. Joshua, I found a UCC financing statement for a fixture, and it didn't list an owed amount. We see that a lot. Should I exclude the lien entirely, or should I include it in the submission with the amount listed as NA? I would do that and I would say NA, it's not listed in the UCC. It's always good for you to point that stuff out up front, because that's something we can double check out of the gate. And it's great for us to know that, because when we have a conversation with the claimant, we may actually be able to figure out what that is and break it out immediately instead of having to wait on the attorney to double check everything. So, Joshua, great question. As severe support for UCC, just note the lien and say no amount given. There you go. Jeff's saying the same thing as me. Most times it's either solar panels. Yep. It's solar panels or pull loans, SoFi, stuff like that. Yeah. Lee Kelly, I reserved a spot and have since then mailed a check to purchase Strike Force. I remove myself from the reservation spot? No. Leave yourself on there. If so, how do I remove my name? Lee, don't worry about removing yourself. And I literally think, let me just double check. I might have gotten it today. By the way, guys, If you don't think you're going to be able to make it on the first, you can send a check in. Our contact information is on surplusfundsriches.net. You got to make it out to the results team. That's the name of our company that handles the education aspect here. And you want to put your email address as well as what programs you're buying. I will, for folks that send checks, I'll count the first 35 checks out. We typically only get like 3 to 5, but I'll count the first 35 checks also if you're in the first 35 toward the freebie. Um, are you, let's see your name here. Yeah, I think I do have it. Yeah, I do. Tranquil is the name on that, the first part of that name. Awesome. Going in the bank tomorrow. We will not send programs out any earlier if you send a check to us. They've got to be postmarked by the first, obviously, because it's a flash sale, right? We won't send them out any earlier. You'll still get it on the first or the second. LSR refundable. No, I read the terms and conditions. All these work. We've been in business for we've been doing this about 20 years. We've been partnering and training for over 15. We don't do that. There's just no reason to do it. Looks like you dove right into Q&A. Did you do a previous video about an overview of the tax surplus strike force? I did. Maybe on your YouTube. I absolutely did on the YouTube channel. Hey guys, subscribe to the channel. I'm pumping out content practically daily, and it's not fluff, but I would definitely subscribe to that. And we actually did a really in-depth overview of the sale and just put that on there today. You'll see it. It has a little announcement bullhorn in the corner, and it's yellow. I mean, you can't miss it on the channel. Anthony, sorry I'm late. Did I miss anything important? No, there's some question and answers here. Guys, obviously, I tell you, if you come in late, you definitely want to watch the replay. It'll be up tomorrow morning, probably on this same channel. Hey, Sean, I have had panning for 3 years, worked it a bit. Can I jump back in, or do I need to update anything? Okay, great question, guys. So the way that we handle that, yes, you can jump back in. The way we handle that is simple. If there are updates to the program, any changes at all, they are on the resources page that is linked from the ebook. So you guys are always have access to updated information. What if, this is Ruby, what if releases do not show an amount on it? If it says it's releasing a loan and it references that loan or the number that was used when it was recorded with the county, that's fine. You don't need it. They're not going to reiterate that all the time anyway. Ellery, hey, Sean, would you say that this new tax surplus strike force, is faster to speed out to pay out than the other programs? I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be about the same. Typical, and I say this a lot, the typical payout time from when you submit and when you get completely paid out for the full commission is 3 to 4 months. But there are times when it's 6 to 8. There are times when we've had deals literally get back before we sent out good faith money, 10% of the gross amount held to the claimant. It's one of the ways we get this stuff under contract within two weeks, 10 business days when they sign it. We actually had one pay out faster. We didn't actually ever send the good faith. We were able to send the total amount within 2 weeks. That's a fluke. Can't count on it. 3 to 4 months is average. That means there's a lot of stuff in the 1.5 to 2 month. There's a lot of stuff in the 4, 6, 8 month. So, and there's no telling, guys. The counties change up, regimes change, right? You get a different clerk involved, or a different tax assessor, or a different sheriff, or whoever we're working with, or with the panning. It's a mortgage company that handled the foreclosure, and now they're actually handling disbursement. Some of those guys are really great and fast. Some aren't. Also, you got to consider, we will work heirship on this. If we're having to work with heirs, we'll get the attorneys we need involved with that too. That's actually making up a huge portion, and it's probably going to make up an even more larger portion with the surplus funds, particularly from tax sales. I'd say the number one reasons tax sale properties go to foreclosure is someone has died. Hi, Sean. Do any of your researchers work full-time, or are researchers considered part-time? We've got a couple of full-timers on there for sure. And once you get on board, you'll be able to open up the active files list on your resources page, and you'll be able to tell by who the full-timers are because you'll be able to see how many are submitted. Joshua, does an estate deed carry open mortgages from the prior owner, meaning I should research the decedent's lien history for submission? Should I list only the current owner's name with those open? No, Joshua, I am so glad you asked that question. Look, put the name of the deed holder on. Don't look up if they died. Let us handle that. And we're not going to trust you anyway. No offense. We're not going to trust you anyway. We have really good systems, like the best in the business for finding people that also tell us if someone died and tell us possible relatives and associates. Please never try to put who you think the heirs are on the worksheet. You put the name that was on that deed. If you want to make a note, that's fine, but we're going to ignore it. We're going to figure out who the heirs are and work from there. You're looking at what was the debt against the last deed holder prior to the sale, regardless if they're alive or not. Okay. MSC, am I on the list? If you are, you would have been emailed when you signed in. So just check your email if you would. LSR, thank you for responding. Hope the knee is feeling better. Thank you. It's much better. Just so everybody knows, I had my right knee replaced 5 years ago, and now my left. Spartan, can we pay early with a credit card? Absolutely not. It is a flash sale. We don't even have the button set up for that thing. And nope, we're not doing it. The only reason we're allowing people to send checks in is because if you do that, I'll have extra time to actually cash it. And that's to basically help people out that know they're not going to be available to get online on the first. Oh, sorry. And you can get on that site. Just so everybody knows too, I need to make a point here because people don't understand how this works. That same web page that you sign up to reserve your spot, okay? That same page at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time on the 1st of January on the dot will roll over and become a buy page. It'll be on the same page. So if you're waiting on that page and it hasn't changed yet and it's 10:01, refresh your page. Rick, if I submit a file under the Premier 16 and later change my strategy, can I submit the same file under the National Surplus? Absolutely not. Rick, let me tell you why. Okay. So just so you guys know, the National Surplus Funds Program, that's our flagship original National Surplus program going after tax and mortgage overages. And we partner with you and we pay 27% of that. That's the one. That's one of them. And that's the one where you are just getting a list and researching debt, turning it in. We do the rest. The other one is a Premier 16, which is available, I think, in a couple of the bundles. With that one, you get 16% of the gross. Works out a little bit better. However, you have to find and call the people and make sure you have the right person and are willing to speak to us. So the last thing, and this is a rule right in that ebook, in fact, the last thing we want is for people to just send us complete junk that they've already tried to reach or whatever. If you turn it in as a P16 file, it'll go on the list so other people won't work it while you're trying to find them and call them, but you can't switch it over to National Surplus later. What a great question. So what most people know, just so you know, what most people do, Rick, in that situation is they will wait a second, they'll research the debt, try to reach them real quick, see if they can get a hold of them or at least have a right number. If they can't, they'll turn it in as a National Surplus Funds. If they can, they'll turn it as a Premier 16. That's how people game the system on me. And I'm fine with it. Charlene Garvin, is there a CRM that you suggest that would help with researching the debt? No. I saw one advertised called Excess Elite. Oh, good Lord. And I believe Surplus Rocket. Okay. You got to research the debt yourself, guys. You go into the Register of Deeds department. It's not hard to learn. It's not hard to do, and it's not going to take a lot of time. You go to the Register of Deeds department or the Land Records department for the county. We teach you how to do all that in the ebook. We do not count on anybody else's information. I certainly would not. I actually had a gentleman the other day say they were using, I'm just going to say it, Excess Elite. They had put a bunch under contract, and then half of them, 10 out of 19, had fallen apart because the debt wasn't checked. Okay. That's what I was told. I'm going by what I was told. Surplus Rockets, guys, you can't use third-party systems. And by the way, AI is not even close to being able to figure this stuff out right now. Will you please touch base on the standalone program bankruptcy goldmine? Thanks, LSR. So that got sunsetted, and I'll tell you why. The bankruptcy goldmine has nothing to do with surplus funds. The bankruptcy courts were holding money because they tried to send a check out to a creditor when they were liquidating assets or whatever, and the check came back. So they just, instead of trying to make another effort, they threw it into their unclaimed money list. The bankruptcy gold mine taught you guys how to do that, how to find the creditor and make a deal and make some money off of it. But the bankruptcy courts have stopped publishing those lists, and it's really difficult to figure out how to go through that particular maze. So that's been sunsetted. That was years ago. Ruby, deeds are not showing foreclosure on top. Deeds say warranty deed. It might not say that. It's a deed transferring from the previous owner to the new one. Ruby, really look at your file example, okay, because it'll show that. But it doesn't necessarily say foreclosure deed. Sometimes they do, but it doesn't always. It'll be a deed that was transferring from the previous owner to the owner at the sale, and the date should line up really closely with the foreclosure. Ruby, read the deed. Yeah, she's saying this. Jeff's saying the same thing. Joshua, if warranty deed and property record list only one husband as the owner, but the mortgage and foreclosure deed list both husband and wife, would only the husband get surplus funds? Typically, yes. Here's the most important thing to remember, though, Joshua, if you're going to partner with us. Just send in the last deed holder. Okay. If it says John Smith married, write it like that. But don't add a spouse when the deed is in only one person's name. That's a fantastic. You're asking fantastic questions. I can tell you've read the book and you're trying to apply it, or you've been in this business or something similar. Yep. Jeff said, Joshua, good question. Yeah, I agree. Okay. Ruby, first blank page on claim a title on bottom, need sales price on bottom, need sales price at auction date, foreclosure, MTO2, where go to. Hey, Ruby, retype that and take your time. Support says, okay. Siobhan, are we permitted to submit our test files simultaneously if we are working more than one program at once? Siobhan, I don't understand the question. If you're saying you want to, for instance, turn in one for national surplus funds and one for the new one, tax surplus strike force, I don't have a problem with that. I don't think Jeff's going to have a problem with that either. Luke, let's see, maybe Jeff did. Luke, you answered my question just now. Thought AI might be getting good at reading deeds and researching debt to help or hurt our ability to do this. Not really. They're far off right now, Luke. It's a great question, and that's all everybody's talking about is AI. The other issue too, and I always told my kids when they were young, if you just learn to talk to people, your education will come second to that. They all got an education, but if you learn to talk to people, that's getting harder and harder for people to do. Not necessarily sales, just have a conversation with people. And AI can't do that yet. And even when they will, people aren't going to trust it. So I think a live person on the phone is still going to trump anybody trying to use AI. Also, there's heavy regulations on using AI to have conversations like that. I mean, heavy. Would you recommend that we use Property Radar? This is Jose, to research the debt if we have access to it? Absolutely not. Use the Register of Deeds department to look up the debt. That's the only thing we're going to take. And Jeff agrees. Joshua, in the case of a mortgage triggering foreclosure, how do we know if it wiped out a second lien or mortgage? It doesn't. This is a great question. Man, you're on it. Is there language in the foreclosure deed we should look for? No, Joshua, it just handles that. And just so everybody knows, because I'm getting this question a lot in the last week, and people are actually arguing with me. Look, Bank of America has a first mortgage on the property. First means it was the first one that was recorded, okay? And it typically states something to that effect. They have the first mortgage on the property for 150. They're foreclosing. Sells for 250, there's 100 grand. If there is a second mortgage for 50, an equity line for 50, they get to claim their money, regardless of whether or not they show up to any court case. They're entitled to that 50 before the owner gets the other 50. There was 250, 150 for the first mortgage. I'm oversimplifying. 50 for the, 50 for the second mortgage, um, 50 for an equity line or a second mortgage, let's say, and then the other 50 would be for the owner. The foreclosure kicks all that out. That was the first place against the house. It does not kick out a second mortgage or an equity line or anything, municipal tax, or rather municipal code enforcement lien, tax lien. It doesn't kick any of that out. Okay. And it will not put that in language. All it's going to tell you is that it's transferring it at the time of the sale. The deed is. Um, yeah, it doesn't wipe out secondary stuff. That's a great question. Shaban, exactly. I just didn't have enough space to clarify my question. Cheers. Okay. Ellery, what states should we avoid or are difficult to work for the tax surplus strike force? So, Ellery, any state that has a tax deed sale is open game. And there is nothing out there that strikes me as overly more difficult than anywhere else. Keep in mind, we've been around so long that we've actually traded horses in some other areas. In other words, taken on a different attorney that moves faster or better or has some kind of in with the court. We've got an attorney in a couple of states, well, quite a few states actually. We've got attorneys that are just magic. The court trusts them. They know who they are. They take their word for a lot of stuff and they work major fast, really, really quickly. So there is no state I would avoid. No. Now, we don't work Colorado. We're never going to work Colorado. Um, Florida is a separate program that's available in one or two of the bundles on New Year's Day, but that's a separate program because their statutes are so different. Okay, hold on. Here we go. In general, this is Spartan. By the way, guys, thank you for all the interaction. It's 8:31. I'm going to hurry up and answer as many as I can because we typically do this for half hour. Spartan, in general, how much time should it take to turn in one file with tax sales force? Okay, it's tax surplus strike force. So Spartan, at first it's going to take you a while. It's a new learning, it's a learning curve. It's a new system for you. It's a new skill set. It's going to take you 30 to 45 minutes maybe to research a file. Probably won't, just because tax sales have a lot less debt against them. But once you're good, researching the debt can take 15, 20 minutes. No joke. Joshua, sometimes the foreclosure deed will have lender name as something like New Res LLC, blah, blah, followed by a long name that's hard to fit on submission sheet. Do we need to use a DBA and FKA, formerly known as? List the first portion of that, unless Jeff says differently here. Are there any law firms that represent trustees for mortgage foreclosures you will not work with? Not asking you to name names. Nope, we don't have a problem with that because we use an attorney too. Our attorney handles that attorney. SFR support. This is important, guys. I have apparently misspoken. Not every tax deed state for the new tax surplus strike force. Most states we will accept. That's Jeff talking. Guys, Jeff handles the front line and writes 90%, 95, 99% of the ebooks these days. So he knows the front line much better than I do. We will have a state acceptance chart on the resources page, says Jeff. Okay, LSR. Thank you, Sean. Happy holidays. Be safe. Joshua, I have one last question. Thanks for your clear answers. When a home ownership deed has two married people, does there need to be 35K surplus for husband and 35? Yes, we actually, by the way, Joshua, we sign them up separately. We have them both sign, even if they're in the same house, whatever. And a notary goes out with it. We don't do the and wife with the. Trust me, it's something that happened in the past. So this keeps us legal and out of any issues or any baloney back end. Good night, guys. Hope you all have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Panning good in Florida. Panning is not something you can use in Florida. Kay Davis. That's not an issue down there. I mean, that's not something you can use down there because you can get lists in Florida. It's a judicial state. I think it can be both, but it's primarily a judicial state. Good question. All right, guys. And by the way, if you want Florida, it's in a couple of the bundles, surplusfundsriches.net, surplusfundsriches.net. Go there, click the big logo, check out the products page, check out the downloads. One's going to be pricing, and one is going to be an overview of all the programs. Thanks, Sean and Jeff. Happy holidays. Were you doing this in 2008 when the economy collapsed? Yep. Do the payouts with surplus funds get tied up when something like that happens? They absolutely do not. The money goes to the county in most cases, and it is released. The county's not going to do anything with that. They're not the stock market. I'm not being a smart aleck. I'm just, nope, did not affect us at all. Guys, I'm not going to talk to you until next year. You can call me if you have any questions after you've read the downloads, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Friday, Eastern time. Uh, but I'm probably not going to talk to you before then unless you give me a pre-purchase question call, pre-purchase only. Give me a pre-purchase question call. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks.